I just wanted to bring up like the Matt Hardy teleportation, Jeff Hardy returned. Jeff Hardy saved Matt. Now we'll get to that. That's the sizzle to the steak. But a good friend of the show, Marv the Movie Monster, who was on the last, popped in during the last PWT Live Show. He caught some heat on X. Now, I didn't bookmark it. I completely forgot, and maybe I'll pull it up here. But he was like, yo, TNA, f this, blah, blah, blah. And then a bunch of people went AWOL on him, and I don't know, is that the right? Guys, I'm a little exhausted today, as they say. You know, people freaked out on him. Like the same people who support him when he's supportive of WWE were like, how dare you? Oh, I need that on the soundboard. The Greta Thunberg. Yeah, they're like, how dare you? Shame on you. There's literally people in his comments like, shame on you. And it's like, guys, he's allowed to not like what he doesn't like. So if you guys missed it, they did a Broken Universe on Impact. The Lake of Reincarnation. Yes. And Eddie Edwards like did the Teen Wolf thing. He transformed into a wolf. And sorry, I'm just reading the chat. Absent without leave. Yeah, I don't know. They were at him, all right? I don't know. I don't know exactly what it's called here. They turned on him, okay? They went heel on him, okay? And so Matt Hardy, like, okay, I am okay with the teleportation stuff and all of that, like to a degree. Like, I wish it didn't exist, but I also grew up watching The Undertaker, who's the fakest, like Taker and Kane are the fakest gimmicks ever, you know? So like I also grew up watching that, so I'm not mad at Marv's opinion ever. He could, you know, we completely disagree on a bunch of wrestling tastes. That doesn't matter. And then he pointed it out, like the people who support me. I should do it in his voice. No, the people who support me are some of them are turning on me just for having an opinion on Matt Hardy match. Like this is stupid. And then they still were under his comments like, shame, you shouldn't say this. No, bitch, you shouldn't say that. No, I'm just kidding. But like everyone's allowed to say what they want to say, you know? So like, you know, Marv can voice his opinion on that. You don't have to agree. Now, me personally, I agree with Marv. I didn't like that broken thing, even though I'm a big fan of it. Now, TNA, like if people, because there's a lot of people just tapping into TNA now who weren't before, right? And they've done deaths. They've done murder mysteries. They've done going to other dimensions and coming back. They've done the Broken Universe saved Impact for a long time on TV there. So, like, for me being a diehard, this was just like usual. I was like, good, you know, that they're doing broken because this helped TNA in the past. Now, I'm not hating on the Matt Hardy. I actually really enjoyed the main event. I like the moment of Jeff coming back, like that place for however many people were there for TNA, that place erupted for him. They love Jeff, dude. Who doesn't? And so, and again, I'm jumping the gun here a bit because I'm going to go through the card quickly before Clash starts. But yeah, you know, just guys like, and Marv can handle himself, but it's just like, you know, lay off him. Like that's super dumb. Like if he doesn't like that shit, he doesn't have to like it. He trashes Matt Hardy. He's been consistent in his burying of Matt Hardy. You know what I mean? So like as far as Marv goes, right? So I mean, don't be shocked if he's not a fan of his TNA stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's, I'm not shocked if nobody's a fan of it because it's outlandish. It's crazy. You know, I'm a fan of the OG broken stuff. I wasn't a fan when Matt Hardy was teleporting in AEW during his debut, and it was those cheesy fake camera cuts in the state. Like that was ass, you know. So this can be ass too. And I wasn't a fan of this, you know, Moose falling in the lake and then coming out a football player and all that. It was just it was like of all the broken matches, this one on the last Impact was on the bottom of my list, hands down. So I agree with Marv on that. And I don't know, he'd probably disagree with me, but like I think the main event actually at Against All Odds was solid, and I think it's good the Hardys are an Impact. And Jeff looked really good too. I'm not gonna lie, he was moving well. I don't know. I think he was getting real. I don't even want to say it, but I don't know. People party in AEW, I guess is what the rumors are. Okay, we're gonna. I'm not saying they are, but they do. We have a super chat here. John JID for $5. Being from Moore County, NC, North Carolina, these guys are legit my hometown heroes, and Matt Hardy is embarrassing as hell. Damn. Jeff still looks fit. That swanton was clean. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Like, dude, he hit his moves and climbed the ropes and everything. Like in AEW, every time he was climbing ropes, you're like, damn, is he like is his hips okay? Here he was spry. He came in, he ducked the clothesline, threw the chair, he did the spot, hit the twist of fate. He looked clean, so he looked good. So I agree. And that's cool. I didn't know you were down from from the old close to the Hardy compound there. But I wanted to talk about this event because we got to put TNA over. It's weird too, because I don't know if we talked about this on the show yet, but they allowed all of these streamers and shout them out, like I forget their, like Wheezy Blonde, I think is one of them, and Santi Zap, and just some other creators, right? Awesome creators. They were playing simulcasting screen and screen, like Impact for the 20th anniversary. It's crazy because the week before, not the week before, maybe like 2 weeks before something, if you guys remember, I got Don Stevens by Impact for just playing a clip of the Gresham stuff. But I want to get on that. I've been on the TNA train since day one of PWT. You know what I mean? I've been all over this. So WWE doesn't have to pay them. They can still have one last run, WWE run, and TNA gets some huge names. It's win-win for everyone, in my opinion. Yeah, well, I'm sure. So behind the scenes, right? Like Jordynne Grace is getting some sort of compensation for showing up in NXT, right? Like, although TNA's paying her, there is like a bump. I know that. So if the Hardys were to show up in WWE again, there would be some sort of bump in pay. Absolutely. But I just say the Hardys work in TNA, help get them over, but then work in NXT and just help train tag teams. I've said it a billion times, and that's a real possibility now with this whole NXT TNA war. You know what I mean? So according to Alt Jake in the chat, thank you so much for the super chat as well. I appreciate that. And it is a win-win. This whole NXT thing, the way they're doing it is a win-win with TNA. And Alt Jake in the chat says, yeah, WWE paid Jordynne 6 figures for 3 matches in NXT, reported by PWT Insider. Jordynne Grace embracing the grind, reaping the rewards, bruv. Okay? That's awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, they're saying reportedly she signed a part-time deal. Good for her, but it'll just be like pop-ups and goes, and we'll see belts. Like, don't worry, man. We'll see. People are like, oh, it did nothing for TNA. Just wait. And like Jordynne Grace got a win. Now I'm going to criticize it a little bit, believe it or not, but here we go. So the card, we had the TNA World Champ. Well, let's start at the countdown, work our way up. So the countdown Against All Odds: Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich versus the Hex for the Knockout Tag Team Championship. The Hex is great. Marty Bell and Allison Kay. Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich. So Alicia Edwards, part of this whole faction called the System, and they're sort of like, it's like Moose and Eddie Edwards, and like they're like the faction that's running. They're like the Judgment Day, I guess, but rich. I don't know how to explain it really, but they're like the faction beating everyone up. But Killer Kelly though left TNA or just didn't resign. Whatever's, I don't know what's up with that, but she was the Knockouts tag champ with Masha, MK Ultra, which is a tremendous team. And it's sort of this isn't hitting Masha with Alicia, but what it is Masha sort of like hired muscle in there for them, but she's not like in their group. Does that make sense? So I don't know. I liked MK Ultra way better, but I'm not hating. This match was actually really, like, the Hex is awesome. Just 2 vets, would be awesome in WWE's tag division, we could see it too. The door's there. It's open. The forbidden door. What do they call it? Prohibited portal. So then we had Sami Callihan versus Jonathan Gresham. Now, Gresham's been doing great work with this octopus gimmick thing. But what happened was, so the match is going down, whatever. What Gresham's been doing is he spits this fucking ink in his hands, and then he like shoves it in people's faces and like incapacitates them. Okay, does that make sense? So it's like the poison mist, but it's like this repulsive slime that makes people just like gag profusely, and it's like this stinky, disgusting black octopus ink, right? And so the ref's in there like with a mask, right? Like a COVID mask and like, or whatever they're called, whatever. And he's got like a, you know, in like gloves, like it's all, everyone knows like, oh, we can't, you don't want to get this stuff on you. So he goes to slime Callahan, and it's like, I think it's a hardcore match. I think there's, I can't remember if there's rules or not, to be honest. It's Callahan, so probably no rules. So Gresham goes to do the ink, and then Kushida out of nowhere, you know, and he's already dressed like Marty McFly, but he's wearing like a lab coat and shit, looking like Doc Brown, like an amalgamation of Doc Brown and Marty McFly. And he runs up and like grabs Jonathan Gresham's face and like cotton swabs the ink, and then he like puts it in a vial, and he's all like, ooh, like he's gonna go do some fucking Peter Parker side. It's like the Venom symbiote, and he's trapped a little piece of it in a vial, you know. And I'm just sitting here going, this is fucking ridiculous. And then Sami Callihan beats Gresham, and I'm like, what the fuck? You know, like, I'm okay, again, a little cheese, like let's do the science behind the mist or whatever. I'm cool with that. It's unique. No one's really done that. Like, they're gonna investigate it or what? I have no idea. But just like Sami then getting the win, like Sami's not as over as he was, but he's a name, so I get it. Whatever. Spent a lot of time on that match. Josh Alexander and Eric Young were wearing like Team Canada gear. They took on the ABC. I forget who won that one, actually. Let's scroll down here. I think the ABC, or no, Alexander got the win, I want to say. I forget. Either way, it was a solid match, but I was a little frustrated because, again, later in the night, we had this, so jumping ahead 2 matches, we had Mike Santana and Steve Macklin take on the Rascals, and then Macklin and Santana won. And they're like not even a team. They're like, oh, we're going to one and done team up, and then we're done. And it's like, the Rascals are a team all the time. They can't be losing to you guys. So then we had say his name, and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendrich, who had billboards like in Glasgow. He has billboards like once every minute. Joe Hendrich's face is popping up on billboards. Or that's a work, and he did this sort of kayfabe thing with his, I don't know, he edited it, TikToks or something. Clash is just starting, guys. So, and then he took on Frankie Kazarian. Solid match, you know. Kazarian's healing really well, and Joe Hendry's over as dude. And WWE have their eye on this guy. Like, trust me, we're gonna be seeing him in NXT sooner than later. PCO took on Rich Homie Swan, which was another solid match. PCO gets this big, like, Frankenstein, Undertaker, rose from the dead type entrance, and it's awesome. And then Steph DeLander came out and was like, because PCO gave her, like, a love letter, and she answered, oui ou non, for our French speakers. And PCO like is asking her on a date, so she's gonna go on a date with PCO. I don't know, kind of silly, a lot of cheese. Now, was I thoroughly sports entertained with this card? Absolutely. Was it a lot of cheese and a lot of like, was it the best TNA show ever? Nope. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, we had an X Division Championship, Trent Seven and Mustafa Ali. Brilliant match. Mustafa Ali wins. He's been undefeated for, like, that's his gimmick. Like, he leaves WWE and his gimmick is, I'm not going to lose, brother. Like, hilarious, dude. And then we have Nick and Ryan Nemeth took on the system, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. And the Nemeth brothers lost. Which was shocking. I thought they were going to win, but good on Dolph Ziggler, like not just going to TNA and taking all their belts, you know, like he's going there and just like putting their talent over. So that's good. And then TNA Knockouts World Championship Open Challenge, Jordynne Grace versus Tatum Paxley shows up from NXT. But Tatum Paxley had a good match with Jordynne Grace, but my biggest criticism was like Tatum Paxley took Jordynne Grace to the limit. So if I'm going to criticize AEW for someone from CMLL or any company. Like, let's be real. TNA should be trying to place themselves above NXT. You know what I'm saying? And they have an NXT girl come in, Tatum Paxley, and she just takes Jordynne Grace to the limit. Jordynne gets a clean win over her, though, points out Ash by Elegance. That's the next match for Jordynne Grace. So it was what it was. But and everyone, I see the chat just exploding. Cody versus AJ kicking off the event. Drew will be main event. Yeah, you had to figure that going into this, right? That they were going to not do title matches back to back, but save Drew for last. So I figured the WWE title match would be at the top. But then in the main event, we had Matt Hardy in a Broken Rules match. Listen, it was just hardcore, whatever. Rebby Hardy comes out with blue hair. She starts twist-of-fating people. And then Matt Hardy accidentally spears her through a table. And then Moose and the System start beating him down, whatever. They pin him. Moose retains the belt. The Nemeth brothers come out. Joe Hendry comes out. Everyone's popping. Matt Hardy and them are all getting beat down, though. Then Jeff Hardy's music hits. The Hardy Boy music as well. The fucking because that's public domain music. And he showed up. They had a good moment. The crowd erupted, popped. I honestly give this TNA event like a 6 or 7 out of 10. Wasn't the best. It was like above average, but it wasn't like, or not even average. I'd say, yeah, like a 6. It was like a solid event, but it wasn't like the greatest thing TNA's ever done. And we didn't see like this huge NXT presence like we thought we would, or like a lot of people are sort of fantasy mark booking. But yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts on that. Round of applause for Phil. I'll give my